When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Good afternoon, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and boy, do we have an awesome show for you today. I know that a lot of you think that what's happening in your world is really who you are. And let me tell you, girlfriend, it is not who you are. It is just where you are. And my guest, Amy Schadt, today is going to dive deep into that subject today as we discuss where you are is not who you are on episode number 6. But before we get to that, I need to make sure that we thank our sponsor of No Problem Parenting. Are you frustrated with your kids? Do you constantly worry about them? Or maybe you're just sick and tired of dealing with the misbehaviors in your home. Oh my gosh, I can just remember that 20 years ago. Well, have no fear. No Problem Parenting is here to help you turn any emotional or behavior problem into a no problem while strengthening your relationship with your kids at the same time. You don't have to be the bad guy to get your kids to behave. Join the No Problem Parenting community where you will find down-to-earth, practical fun, and no nonsense tips and ideas for how to deal with and overcome any parenting challenge. Go to noproblimparenting.com and get started today. Become the confident leader your kids crave you to be. Wow, where was she when I was raising my kids? I tell her that all the time. Jackie Finneman is the owner of No Problem Parenting. She's amazing. Go check her out at noproblimparenting.com. And don't forget, the month of April is all about my 50th birthday celebration. And for the month of April, we are celebrating you. So you get $50 off the membership as well as a free month. So we hope you come and join us and all of the celebrations we're doing all month long to celebrate you, the LEAP community members. All right, here we go. We're going to dive in with our awesome guest today, Amy Schadt. Now, Amy, she's a keynote speaker. I love it that she speaks. She's a women's empowerment coach. Y'all know she's right after my heart, who reconnects women with their passions, helps them break free from their stories that keep them stuck, and awakens their inner genius and confidence so they can live an unstoppable life. Girl, after my heart on this one. Amy began her career as a dance educator and artist, spending 2 decades performing professionally and educating dancers. With over 20 years experience in education, her transition into coaching was a natural one. She created the radical embodiment Colleen. She created the radical embodiment method, say that 50 times fast, that utilizes coaching, meditation, and dance to support a woman's healing and empowerment journey. How great is that? Amy, you combine like all of your facets of skill sets and knowledge and wisdom all into one, a beautiful package to empower women. She's the host and producer of The Unstoppable You, a monthly live event where she gathers an eclectic group of experts to speak into how to get unstuck so you can reclaim your power and have happy, loving relationships. Amy, welcome to the show.
Hi, welcome. I'm so happy I'm here. Hello, everybody. I love that Colleen and I are connecting and to make it, to make some impact today.
Yeah. I was noticing that you and I connected a couple of about a year or so ago. And it's so awesome. We just never know when we connect with someone and our paths cross, when we're going to reconnect again, or when the timing is going to be right for us to connect with other people, in our community. And it seems as if you have built yourself a beautiful community here, but I know it hasn't always been this way. Most of the time, Amy, when we create a business and we're empowering others, it's because at a point in our life, we needed to be empowered. So let's go back to when that was and that moment that really brought you to today. Do you know when that pivotal moment was, or the changes that happened in your life?
Yes. So that pivotal moment came with the death of my fiance. it was like we were living the dream life, had many plans, had a future. Our path was going this way. And he was like, I feel there's something not right. Right. So he went to the doctors, and 6 weeks later, he was gone. And that was such a pivotal time in my life. And I learned so much in helping someone transition in that way.
Yeah, you can't prepare for that.
Can't prepare for that.
That happens so fast. I remember I had an aunt that got pancreatic cancer and died, within 6 to 8 weeks as well. And just from healthy, fine, everything's okay, to not good, and losing her life. So what was that time like for you? Was it a sad time mixed with a celebration of his lifetime, mixed with, I don't know, what does that feel like?
Yeah. So I would say it was devastation, trauma, ground zero, having to really rebuild my life, really rethink also how I was living my life and who I was being in that. And also understanding that we, to really feel blessed for where I am today, and to take the leap, like take advantage of every opportunity that comes my way. And if it doesn't come my way, then how can I create it?
Yeah. And, I believe, is that where the word unstoppable was born for you at that time?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure in the moment you didn't feel unstoppable, Amy.
No. And this is what I say to everyone who's gone through a trauma like that. Like, I was on the couch. I was about 3.5 years in PTSD trauma.
Yeah.
But, it was interesting. I did what I could. And what I did was I went back to college. And I went back to college because that was like the thing I could do. But yeah,
just burying yourself back into learning.
Get back to learning. Yeah. I could not really leave my house. I was very traumatized to leave my house. It took a lot of effort. Because when something like that happens, and this is what many people don't talk about, is trust. Your trust is broken in your safety about being in this world. Right?
It's true. Yeah. I don't think we see it that way.
I had a total break of trust within this world, which I had to rebuild.
Yeah. So how did you rebuild it, Amy?
Well, small steps. So going back to college right there, and with every test I got an A on, with every accomplishment I did, I was rebuilding who I was. I was rebuilding my confidence. Like, people think it's this big leap, but I'm like, every A I got, every paper I completed, everything that I did, built until I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to see what else is out there for me. Right.
What a great message for our listeners, because you're so right. When people take the leap, they think they have to dive off the side of the cliff and just hang and fly, And what you're saying is just that first leap, the little first leap of leaving the house or going back to school was like, that's a first leap. And then, taking that first class, that every little leap that you took was a step forward. But to you, it felt more like a leap forward because it was big steps to your healing.
To my healing. And gosh, it's just such a, it's such a weird thing when you're taken out like that, because he filled me with so much love and energy. And the thing about energy is that when it leaves you, it's easily replaced by negative energy, fear, anxiety. And that was what was living inside of me after he passed. Because that safety, that love was gone. And when it left with it was like I almost emptied out. All that stuff came in me. And that was my gift to reconcile.
Yeah.
That was my gift back to me, is how to really heal from this trauma, get out of anxiety, find new ways of figuring things out, being resilient. It builds who you are.
It does. It does. And it's interesting that you say that, because when I heard you say, when that energy is pulled out of you, the safety, the love, the energy, it's, if you don't replace it with more of that, right, then it does get replaced with the negativity and the fear. And I'm curious because of, and I know I see this in my clients that come from corporate America to starting their own businesses, when they take that leap, the security of the paycheck, the energy of being in an office where you're told what to do. So you know what your next steps are and what you need to do to get that next paycheck, right? Your steps to the money. When you become an entrepreneur, the steps to the money aren't as clear. And then if all of that is gone, the safety, what you're talking about, pours in, the fear, the negativity, they're scared. Is that where you're finding women are getting stuck because they start building the story then of where they are?
Yes. And we are inundated with stories all the time.
Give us an example, girl. Give us an example.
It could have came from our culture. It could have came from our parents. It could have came from our friend, a teacher. And today, ladies, it is coming from this social media. I'm
not good enough. I'm not good enough. Look at that girl. Look at her life, right? Look at how amazing she is. There's no way I can be her. And then the story starts negative, negative, negative. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough.
Yeah. I don't do that. I don't look like that. I don't have that. So therefore I can't, I'm not worthy.
Yeah. That's such a shame.
Such a shame. I limit all that stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
I was just going to ask you, what do you do to counteract those negative beliefs coming at you just scrolling?
So with social media, I have a VA who posts for me.
Smart. I do too.
I don't think that I relate to all of I am not a big proponent on looking outwards for who I am, what I want to do, what my vision is. I look to my creative self and my what I've been through and what I desire. And then I go to my clients. What are they talking about? What to my community? What are they asking for? That's where I go to.
Let that be a lesson, ladies. That was so powerful, Amy, what you just said. Not to look outside of ourselves for the validation, for the acceptance, for the permission, but to look within ourselves and the power. Because do you believe that when we look outside of ourselves for those things, we give our power away and our energy away versus holding it on for ourselves?
Yeah. So one of my first steps in radical embodiment is reflect. The reflection is about finding your wisdom. So in that reflection, it's really about defining what you think things are, right? Because we're so individual. This is what I love. We're so individual. We have our own ideas about what confidence is, or love, or being stuck, or anything. We have our own thoughts and ideas about it. So when we reflect and we get really clear about what we believe our definition is, then we can look at where are we lacking it in our life, or where do we have it in our life, right? But when I go to look at someone else's definition of confidence, it might not match with me.
Right.
And therefore, I feel like I'm not confident.
Yeah.
And these ideas, like even being confident, like most of us, if you really think about confidence, I don't know what came up for me was the Nike ad.
Yeah.
Just do
because
it.
It's 3 words. Just do it. And someone's like, that sounds a lot easier for this person. But if I've never done it before, to just do it's really scary to me.
Yeah. So when we don't just do it, all of a sudden we're not confident.
Yeah.
This is the type of work I do.
Yeah.
Is really, we get to discern, we get to decide, we get to define.
Yeah.
No one else.
That's beautiful. That's beautifully said. And I want all of the listeners hearing this to embody what Amy is talking about. The individuality that you have, the power that you hold, how different you are than everyone else, not allowing yourself to be compared to others and that become the measure at which you looking at yourself of where you are in the world. Because like we talked about, where you are is just where you are. It's not who you are. It does not identify you. We've all been in places. I mean, I've been curled up in a fetal position in my room crying with an anxiety attack that I've never had in my life. And it was just like an overwhelm of being an entrepreneur one day. I've never had that. I mean, I'm turning 50. I've never had that happen to me. It just came out of the blue. So we've gone from that to being on a stage in front of 1,000 people. That person on that stage has been in another place at some point.
Yeah. And the other thing that really got me through to being unstoppable is, I call it radical acceptance.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I'll go deeper into that, but the first line, the one sentence you need to say to yourself is, I am where I'm supposed to be.
I love that. That's so true.
But where's the lesson? How can I learn from this experience? What am I here to learn? And the radical acceptance of that is like, the idea of radical acceptance is to have peace, to bring peace, not judgment.
Yeah.
Not yearning for something that you don't have. It's more like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
This is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But what can I do today to kind of start, getting real with myself about making these decisions to my vision, to what I truly desire?
You know what? I'm glad you said that because, a couple of people in my life lately have lost significant others, husbands and grandparents. And they question and they say out loud to me, how long am I allowed to grieve? And they would say, I feel like the world is expecting me to just bounce back. Like, kind of like you have a child and everyone knows that, if you have a baby in the United States, you get, 3 months off or 12 weeks, something like that. And then you're just expected to bounce back and go back to doing your regular work. Like you had a baby and now you're not attached to that baby and it's not hard to leave them and you don't miss them or, feel like they're in someone else's care and you can't do it. The world somehow puts this expectation on how long, we're supposed to be okay after a certain period of time. And one of the ladies I was talking to, her name's RV Robinson. She's a speaking coach. And she said to me, it hasn't even hit me till month 5.
That's
and
right.
Now I'm sad. And I don't know what to do with this. Everyone thinks I've worked through this already, but I'm not okay right now. And I said, then don't be okay. It's okay to grieve. You don't owe anyone any explanation. And I like you, Amy, the world is telling us we're supposed to be something and we're supposed to get over something quick or whatever it may be. And your permission that you're sharing with the ladies today is that it's okay. Give yourself the permission for it to be okay. And take your time.
And yeah, so when I was speaking about reflecting and defining, the fact of the matter is this: when you go through a loss, your heart is full of loss. It's full of sadness. It's full of fear. It could be full of regret, whatever it's full of. This is just how it is. And what happens is, when it's like that, it's hard to let joy or anything into your heart because it's so full of this loss. And we have to respect that. And the radical embodiment is about respecting your body, what your body's saying.
Yeah.
Okay. We are too much in our head. The head has been ruling this world for too long. And what she's probably feeling is in her body.
Yeah.
And the head is saying, but I want out, or you should, or tick, 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 tick. But when you give respect and understanding to your body, who you understand, I don't care what you say. I'm listening to me. I'm listening to what my body is wanting and needing and is in this place right now. There is nothing wrong with sadness. There's nothing wrong with grieving. There's nothing wrong with just being where you're at.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I read in your bio earlier that you created the radical embodiment method that we were, kind of jumping into here, and you utilize coaching, meditation, and dance. Talk about that part, because you're a dancer.
I'm a dancer.
Over 20 years.
Over 40 years in the 40 years in the studio.
Oh, okay.
And I'm still teaching a couple classes because I love it.
Oh, yeah.
So what did I find? I found that because I've been coaching and doing live events and speaking to women for the last 3.5 years. And because I started my business 3.5 years ago. Okay. So, and I'm seeing there's a gap. The gap of a woman's desires. They desire so much. We desire so much. We want so much. We feel so much. We want to, I call it the fire inside. Like we want to ignite that fire and live it. And then then we have our vision for what we want, and the gap is that the stories, no follow through, all of this thing, all this like conversations in our head we're having. So I decided to take my meditation and my dance and my coaching and integrate it into a system, because oftentimes, how many of us download a PDF and then we don't complete it? Or how many of us we think
a lot?
Yeah, we're in our heads a lot, but without our body engaged, we ain't going nowhere.
So true.
We are not going anywhere. And I have a question for you, Colleen, and for your guests. And this is a great kind of I wonder, do you wake up body first or mind first?
I wake up mind first. It always that's how I know I'm awake, because my mind starts racing and then I'm like, oh, can't go back to sleep now.
Yes.
That's what happens to me. And I'd be curious to explain to me the difference so that our listeners know the difference between, because maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I feel, the immediate thing that came to my head.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong. We are all different. So many of us, for me, I wake up body first. And a lot of it was because I was in my pain body for so long, right? And many of us are in our pain bodies. So I wake up body first, that's the thing that awakens me. And I got in the habit of doing a body check to figure out how I was feeling for that day, so that I could get my mind on board. Because if you're in your body, pain body, it's hard to get your mind on board.
So if you wake up body first, you feel your body first. You're not thinking. If you wake up mind first, you're thinking.
You're off and running.
That's me.
Yeah, you're off and running, right?
Although I do not jump up and start working or anything like that. I mean, my morning is 2 hours worth of working out and meditating.
Yes.
Journaling and reading. So I feel like I'm not quite awake yet. My body's definitely dragging to the kitchen. But yeah, so now I know the difference, the thinking versus feeling the body.
Because your body has whatever trauma, pain, thoughts, they live in your body, by the way.
Yeah. Yes, they do. Emotions.
Yes.
A lot of those are in these shoulders right here. I tell people.
Everyone knows. But so the thing is, if you wake up, if you're in your pain body or you wake up body first, you have to get your mind engaged.
Yeah.
You have to I had to get my mind engaged to make strategic decisions, because my body needed help to pull me forward. Gotcha. I had to talk my body into taking steps forward.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're in our mind so much, we leave our body behind. So we don't complete what we start.
Or we're just relying on our education and skill sets and decision making all in the mind, but we're not trusting the gut or the intuition because we're not checking in the heart and the body. I love that. And that is a masculine way to operate from the mind. A more feminine way to operate would be from the intuition, the gut, the heart.
And my goal is to have mind-body communication all the time so that you are actually present in this moment. That's me beautiful. Picking up this pen or me raising my hand, if you ask a question, that means my mind and my body are together. They are now present, working together instead of just going.
Right. And for all of you, she's shrinking back in her
listening.
seat. So, and she's like, she really is kind of removing herself from the conversation. So for all of you that are listening to this on the podcast, feel free to go over to the Leap community, Leap for Ladies. You can click on the link or go to Colleen Biggs and you can see the video there. That way you can see how beautiful Amy is and how her different postures were in the last, few minutes of the segment that we just recorded.
Yes. And many of us in our coaching and our business, we just sit back and listen. But in a community of people, you show up, you raise your hand, you ask a question. It's a whole nother level of participation. Yeah. And participation is required.
It is. Yeah. It's required in your life. It's required in your relationships. It's required in your business. You're absolutely right. And Amy, how can our listeners participate in you, in your community, in what you're building, in your offers? I know you have an offer for the community today. We have your Instagram links, your LinkedIn links. So all of you have that at your fingertips and in the comment section, but tell us how they can reach you and what you have for them today.
Yes. So you have my links. I also have amyschadt.com. I don't know if I put that in there, but I'm also offering for you to visit my Radical Embodiment membership, where I take you through these 4 steps. They're live classes. It's a group coaching with me. And I invite guests into the community to speak also, because without co-creation, who are we, ladies?
That's so true. It's all about the community and leveraging, working with other people.
Who are we? We cannot go it alone.
You're right.
It's a very lonely place to be. And where you are in a community of like-minded women, just like Colleen's community, beautiful community. It's like things begin to happen. Yeah. So I'm offering a 2-week free trial into that membership so they can experience the Radical Embodiment Method and get out of their heads and into their body.
Wonderful. Well, you heard it here, ladies. Make sure you click on that link, theunstoppableyouwomencircle.com/radical embodiment. You'll see the link down there to get that 14-day trial. Make sure you use the coupon code UNSTOPPABLE. Everyone knows I'm all about being unstoppable. So Amy Schadt here, and she is also unstoppable. And where she is today is where she is. It is not who she is. She told you who she was in the beginning of the segment. So if you forgot, make sure you rewind it and go back. And if you know of anyone that could really use this inspiration today and motivation, please share this podcast episode with them today, episode number 6, where you are is not who you are. And Amy, thank you for being with us today. You were an excellent, excellent guest.
Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiration, motivation, and steps that we can use to use that radical embodiment method on ourselves and asking ourselves, how are we waking up every day? I loved that. And ladies, remember, you are the only you that has ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. So your time is now. Give yourself the permission that you need to live the life that you desire. Create the story of your life, just like Amy talked about earlier. So we want to thank you all for joining us today, and we will look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care and have a wonderful week, everyone. Goodbye for now.
We hope you enjoyed our show today, as our guests shared their secrets on designing their life by taking the necessary leaps to expand their influence and attract the right people and clients into their lives. To start these easy steps for yourself, be sure to visit www.colleenbiggs.net/freebies to download the 7 ways to increase your exposure today.